So Cork 322, Westmeath 25 points at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. I'm re-uploading this match reaction because the quality on the live stream was very bad earlier. I didn't realise actually how bad it was. So I've decided to re-upload this one and re-record it. But yeah, look, listen, Cork have beaten Westmeath 322 to 25 points. Cavan have obviously lost to Wicklow as well in an absolute shocker. 311 to 18 points. Cavan relegated to Division 4. I mean, what a massive shock that is for Cavan. I mean, I'd be curious to know what Cavan fans think in the comments down below, because that is an absolute shocking result for Cavan football. There's no one or two ways about it. I mean, that is devastating stuff to be losing to Wicklow. I mean, Wicklow deserve so much credit for getting that win and getting that victory, staying in Division 3. But for Cavan, it's 3 straight relegations, and for a side that won the Ulster Championship last year, how on earth are they now going to be in Division 4 next year? It makes absolutely zero sense, no sense at all in my opinion, and it's damning stuff, as a matter of fact, for Cavan. It really is. But Cork and Westmeath was the game I watched, because I did have Cavan and Wicklow on in the background, but I didn't expect to speak about this game because I expected Cavan to beat Wicklow quite comfortably. But we'll speak about Cork and Westmeath, and look, listen, it was a very interesting game. There was absolutely no two ways about it. You know, both sides, I think the general consensus coming into this game was that a lot of people felt that Cork and Westmeath were going to both be quite defensive, both get a lot of men behind the ball, both defend in numbers, and it wouldn't be an entertaining game. As a matter of fact, we got a cracking game. We really did. I mean, 322 to 25 points tells you all you need to know, that there was so much going on in this game. And Westmeath had a number of goal chances, as a matter of fact, in the first half, and on a different day they would have won this game. There's no two, you know, they would have won this game. They had the chances to do so. Sam McCartan hit the post in the first half. There was another chance again where I think it was Ray Kennellan ran through just a few moments later. In the second half, Sam McCartan had another chance for Westmeath. So they really were having a lot of opportunities, and it really wasn't until the second half when Cork really clicked into gear. They started driving at Westmeath's defence, with the likes of Ian Maguire making forward runs. That run for the Luke Connolly goal was absolutely exceptional. It was a brilliant run straight through the middle, offloaded it into Luke Connolly, who hand passed it into the back of the net. But yeah, we'll run through some of the scores in this game. First of all, I suppose from a Cork point of view, they obviously got the win. Cathal O'Mahony hit 3 points. He was actually really impressive at the start of the game. He hit 3 very early scores. All his 3 points came in the opening 8 minutes. And you really actually felt that Cathal O'Mahony, you know, after a very impressive Clare game, and kind of starting to get more into the side, you would have felt that Cathal O'Mahony maybe now is starting to stake his claim into that team, you know. And he's been obviously a player that a lot of people have had close eye on over the past couple of years with Cork, because obviously, you know, the under-20 success and the underage success that he's had, for example. And, you know, you're wondering, can he, click into gear now with some other players retiring in the past couple of years and whatnot. And he gets those 3 points, looks absolutely fantastic. Went off on the 37th minute, potentially an injury there, I'm not 100% sure. So potentially something there for Cork fans to worry about, but I think he looks like a talent, and certainly if you can get him into gear, you know, going into the Munster Championship, I don't think Cork will win the Munster Championship in all honesty, but if you can get him into form, you've definitely got a chance. Luke Connolly won 4. I believe all his 4 points came from place balls, and obviously that goal, of course, he got in the second half as well, when Ian Maguire ran through brilliantly and hand passed it into Luke Connolly, who fisted it into the back of the net. And some of the other players, Dan Deneen made his senior debut, I believe, his first ever start. He hit 3 points. John O'Rourke looked quite bright as well before he went off, hitting a point. And Paul Walsh obviously getting 2 points from midfield. The substitutes though made a massive difference, and Brian Hurley, what a difference he made coming off the bench. 1-4 on the day. Mark Collins, the other substitute, hit 1-1. And the substitutes paid dividends for Cork. They really did, because Brian Hurley was phenomenal when he came on. Like, he was getting so involved. He was dropping deep to get the ball, running at Westmeath, and that's what they needed. And it was almost like the first half reminded me a lot actually of when Cork played Tipperary last year in the Munster final. Like, it was in Páirc Uí Chaoimh again. It was almost like you were watching the same game, where Cork were kind of running out of ideas. They were just lackluster passing. There was one situation where Kevin Flahive picked the ball up off the ground, and it was right in front of their goal, so it was an easy free for John Heslin. And they were struggling, Cork. They really were. The passes just weren't flowing. Westmeath were turning them over, causing Cork too many problems. And you were worried from a Cork point of view. You definitely were. But when the likes of Mark Collins and Brian Hurley came on, they just added a different dimension to Cork's attack. They were causing some of the problems that Westmeath were causing Cork, and Cork were pressing higher up on Westmeath on their kickouts, winning more ball in midfield with the likes of Ian Maguire, and they were causing problems right there. You know, Brian Hurley was getting forward, ended up scoring 1-4, of course, on the day. Some fantastic points in there as well. So he was certainly very impressive indeed. And from a Westmeath point of view, you know, some of their scorers on the day, John Heslin hitting 12. Obviously, a lot of them were frees. Lorcan Dolan looked quite bright, actually. I'm not too sure. I've never heard of Lorcan Dolan before, in all honesty. You know, my knowledge of Westmeath football wouldn't be as good as maybe it is in Dublin. But yeah, what an impressive performance. And obviously that name, Dolan, I don't know if he's a relation to any of the, you know, Desi Dolan or James Dolan or anything like that, but he looks a talent and certainly one to keep an eye on. Jerry Egan hit 3 points. You'd Ray Ellen, who I thought was phenomenal in the first half. Like, what a player he is. We all know the talent he has, obviously, from playing AFL in the past. And, you know, kicking 3 points was brilliant. Ronan O'Toole looks a very tidy footballer, and beating 1 or 2 players. Doesn't quite have the end product yet, which is the only thing that's missing, in my opinion. There was 1 or 2 opportunities as well. His decision making at the final moments is maybe just a little bit off at the moment. Kicked 1 or 2 chances wide in the second half, and I remember 1 or 2 going wide in the first half as well. But he is a player that will cause problems. Like, he'll go around 1 or 2, and he's a young lad as well, so he's a lot of potential. And, you know, if you can get the end product of him right, I think Westmeath could be a team to watch in a couple of years, with if John Heslin stays in there, and you Fowler, you're in there, coming off the bench as well. So a lot of talent in there. Sam Duncan received a yellow card, I think in the first half at one stage in the game. You know, it's another one as well where you're kind of looking at it and you're thinking, what's a black card, what's a yellow card? You know, it's a high challenge, surely that should be a black card. Ronan Wallace actually, you know, at one stage in the second half, I believe, brought down, I think it might have been Luke Connolly or one of the Cork lads going through. Again, is that a black card or is it a yellow? You know, we'd have to see that. If it's a deliberate cynical foul, then it should be a black card, because that's what it says in the rule book. And if it's an intentional high challenge or an intentional block, then it should be a black card as well. So it is interesting that those weren't given as black cards. Whether those rules have changed or not, I don't really know. Personally, I actually prefer a yellow card, so I was quite happy to see that. You know, you don't want to be seeing loads of players getting sent off left, right and centre. So I was actually happy they're yellow cards, but it was just interesting with the rules, with different interpretation of the rules from different referees. But yeah, in the end, Cork got the victory. It was just their tenacity in the second half, and I suppose it's an old cliche in sport where you say they wanted it more, and they really did. They went at Westmeath full tilt, and you know, kicking points, very efficient in front of goal. Hit 20 points against Clare, 22 points again today, adding goals into the game as well, which I believe they didn't. Did they score any goals in I think they got one against a few against Laois, I think, as far as I remember. But yeah, getting 3 goals was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, there was another game that took place, Wicklow and Cavan, or Wicklow and Cavan. I mean, oh goodness me, I mean, what on earth is going on with Cavan? I mean, I had the game on in the background, and I couldn't quite believe my eyes that Wicklow have managed to beat Cavan. I mean, look, listen, Wicklow deserve a tremendous amount of credit. Shawnee Furlong hitting 2 goals in the second half, one of them a penalty, the other one coming right at the start of the second half. Cavan going down to Division 4, and the worrying thing for me is they never even look like winning this game. Wicklow were always in front. They hit 3 points early on before Cavan even registered their first score. It was just devastating stuff from a Wicklow point of view, or from a Cavan point of view. It really was. Like, it was just really poor. They never settled into the game at all, in my opinion. You know, like Wicklow, with the fact that they were able to get those goals that they did, Patrick O'Connor getting another one as well. You were looking at Cavan, and as I said before, I was mainly focused on the Cork Westmeath game, but I had the Wicklow Cavan game on here on my laptop on a different screen, and I was kind of looking at that, and I was thinking, you know, when are Cavan going to click into gear here? When is it going to happen for them? Because you were kind of waiting for them to click into gear. You're waiting for them to kick a couple of points or get a couple of goal opportunities, and they never really looked like they were ever like trying. They didn't look like they were giving 110%. And Wicklow at different stages in the game looked very beatable. Like, they hit 3 points early on, and they didn't hit. I think they didn't hit their 4th point until another like 15 to 20 minutes, and it's just baffling. It really, really is. Wicklow deserve a tremendous amount of credit. I mean, for a county like Wicklow, you know, to get to Division 3, to Division 3 was a huge achievement. To stay in Division 3 is another massive achievement. And you know, like, it's their season in many ways. Like, you play Wexford in the Leinster Championship, you'll probably beat them in my opinion. Then obviously going on to Dublin. I mean, just tremendous stuff for Wicklow. It really is. They deserve so much credit. From what I seen, they were offloading a lot of long balls into Shawnee Furlong and Owen Darcy, and that was causing a lot of problems for Cavan. They were struggling massively with some of those long balls going in there. But yeah, for a team like Cavan, Ulster champions, losing to, you know, probably one of the weaker teams in the Leinster province, and the Leinster province, when you take Dublin out of the equation, is probably the weakest province in the GAA or in Gaelic football at the moment. So yeah, it's baffling stuff. It really is. I'd love to hear some point of view from Cavan fans in the comments down below. For Wicklow, they deserve massive credit, and you know, I suppose for them, or for Cavan now, it's going into that Tyrone game, and you're just looking at it and you're thinking, there's no way they're beating Tyrone. Like, Tyrone will probably wipe the floor with them, let's be perfectly honest. And it's been a miserable season from Cavan. And as I was saying on the live stream before I well, obviously I cancelled I deleted that video because the quality was so poor. My internet is obviously just not working today. I was kind of making the comparison between Liverpool and the Premier League, where Liverpool, you know, had the highest of highs winning the Premier League, you know, 2 seasons back, or in 2020, I should say. And obviously or this season, they sneaked into third in the Premier League and got into the Champions League. So it was an acceptable season in the end. But there was some lowest of lows in there. Like, there was one stage where Liverpool were on some of their worst runs in their history in terms of losing at Anfield. And this is kind of what this reminds me of, where Cavan were hit the highest of highs winning the Ulster Championship, and now it's the lowest of lows going down to Division 4. You know, they still have the opportunity, maybe like Liverpool did, to rescue their season and beat Tyrone, but it's just highly unlikely. You just cannot see it happen whatsoever. So yeah, dreadful stuff from Cavan, no doubt about it. You know, I'm sure all Cavan fans are devastated and very angry with that result, and rightly so. For Wicklow fans, I'm sure they're over the moon and deserve full credit. Well deserved of the victory. They're always in front. Cavan never looked like winning this game. I don't even know. I think Cavan led at the start of the second half. That was the only time they led in the entire game. And as for Cork, a huge win for them, obviously, over Westmeath. Still a lot to work on for Cork's defence. You'd be worried about them going into the Munster Championship, in all honesty. But yeah, big win for them. And for Westmeath, I think with the fact that Cavan aren't in Division 3 next year, you know, I mean, Westmeath will probably fancy their chances. Although, looking at Cavan, I don't think Westmeath would fear Cavan whatsoever. So yeah, mad situation, mad round the games. There'll be more match reactions to follow, of course, as well. The Derry Limerick game is on at the moment here. I'm just currently watching it. It's half time here at the moment, so there'll be a match reaction after that. And of course, there will be match reactions for Dublin and Donegal as well, so stay tuned for that. My name is Aaron, and I'll see you later.